Hello. Okay, so we are going to go over contouring, and today is going to be powder contour and how you do powder contour. This is my everyday contour, and I didn't used to do this every single day, but I've kind of like fallen in love with it, and I'm obsessed. I love how it turns out. It's just something that it doesn't take me long now that I know like kind of what I'm doing. So I highly recommend it. And it does take practice. So if you start to do it and you're like, this takes a little longer than I want, just know it does take a little bit of practice. And it's something that you can start just doing only if you have like a little bit of extra time in the mornings. Or you can just save it for special occasions. But I do recommend bronzing. So like if there's one thing that you want to just do, then just do the bronzing, and then you can contour on maybe just on the weekends when you have a little bit of time, because I understand you got a life and you got kids, and you, or maybe don't have kids and you're just running late all the time. I understand. I do that all the time too. So we're going to jump right into it. I do bronzing first. It's just how I do it, and then I go back and contour. So it's not as overwhelming with my contour if I bronze first. I don't know why I do it that way. I just do. If you're cream contouring, you do that first, because obviously cream comes before powders. But let's just talk about powders today. So I love the Fenty Beauty, and that is the nastiest compact ever. Sorry about that. Island Ting is such a pretty color. I love it so much, and look how dirty. I love a big kabuki brush. I just feel like I can get it like, I don't know. I feel like I can get a nice blown out look with a big fat kabuki brush. So that's what I use. This is from Cosmetics. I got it at Ulta. It's a good one. I've had it for a long time. So it's what I use. On my face right now is I am baking. And I have translucent powder under my eyes for brightening and to catch fallout when I do my eyeshadow. I have translucent powder on my jawline for brightening, and baking on for translucent powder on the sides of my nose for baking for if I get oily during the day. Okay, so let's jump into it. Get a big kabuki brush, and I just kind of like get some bronzer on there. And what I do is I start out on kind of like the middle part of my ear. Well, not on the ear, but like in that area. So the point of impact is back towards my ear. That way I don't have like a glob of translucent powder towards my cheek, because I want it to be heavier here. Even though I'm going to blend it out, I don't want a heavier bronzer towards the middle of my face, because that's where I have like more pores or larger pores at, and you do not want that. You don't want bronzer getting in that and like settling. So I'm going to start here. I might squeeze just a little bit just to kind of get me started, to kind of, and that's another way you contour a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of just let loose and just kind of go. And a lot of times I don't think about it just because I'm so used to doing it. And then I'm also, y'all, I tried to be cute and have my earrings on. This is not going to work with earrings. Sorry. Sorry about it. All right. All right, so another way, I turn my kabuki brush sideways and I smile, and I kind of bring it under the apples of my cheeks just a little bit. Don't get too crazy in here, just a smidge, and that's just going to contour a little bit more. So after I do that, I'm going to take my kabuki brush and I'm just going to hit that jawline just a little bit. This is kind of considered contouring, but I'm not really getting into the contouring side of it. I'm just kind of hitting my jawline, creating that little shadow, or just adding to the shadow that's already there. So no big deal. And see what a difference it's already done. And trust me, this is going to be blown out some, so don't think that it's going to be that heavy. See how I'm squeezing it just a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of let loose once I see it's not going to be all crazy. And now I'm going to kind of go on the sides. And there could literally be nothing on the sides, and that's okay. And all I'm doing is kind of like blending out that line, and then I'm just smiling. And I'm really just using the excess of the powder to create a subtle line that literally is so subtle. I can't hardly see it in the mirror. You see it more in the video. Like, I see it more in the video than I do in the mirror. And that's because there's translucent powder here, you know, and this will go away. And then I'm going to take some up in the on my forehead just a little bit, and I'm just patting. I don't mind rubbing on my cheeks, but I do mind rubbing anywhere else on my face. I pat everywhere else on my face. Pat, pat, pat. I go around here with bronzer, cheekbones, jawline, and then a little bit right here. Bronzer on my nose, and then I do a little bit right there. And I'll get to that in a minute, just in case you're wondering where all I put it. All right, so now jawline. We want all this loveliness to disappear. You know, cheese sticks, French fries, you know, all the things we should need. All right, so I feel really good about just my bronzer. Now, if I'm in a hurry and I don't feel like doing anything else, I squeeze my kabuki brush with this, and I'm just patting it. And it's just, when I touch my thing, it's like a touch. It's a touch. I'm not doing anything more than that. And then I just touching my into the bridge of my nose, and then I'm going back and like dusting my nose. It's like I'm dusting like here, like almost like not up in my nose, but like just right up in there. It's a bad description. Tapping. So I'm leaving this part a little bit because I'm taking my translucent powder and I'm letting it kind of bring my eyes, kind of giving me an eye lift. And I'm leaving my jawline, turning that sideways, kind of like doing a little bit of extra contour on my bronzer. Alright, so there's that. Now the fun part. I'm going to contour it out. Now I did a mini contour with my bronzer, which is fine. That's all you have to, if you want to just do that. A lot of days I don't have time to do this, and that is completely fine. Just do that. And all I'd have to do is take my big fluffy brush and like brush off the excess translucent powder, and a lot, like this little line right here would disappear. And if it doesn't, all I have to do is take this big fluffy brush and it will, you know. Any harsh lines you see is probably because excess translucent powder is on my face, and it will buff out. If it doesn't, I take the excess that's on this kabuki brush and I go over that area, like directly on this area, and I just add a little bit of color. I don't add more to this brush. I take what's extra on here and I just buff it out, and it calms that area down. So if you do not like your cheekbones to kind of pop a little bit, that's not cheekbone, jawbone or cheekbone, to pop a little bit, and you want it to die down and blend together more, then do that. Take the excess only, don't add more, and just kind of buff it out. A little trick. Okay, so now I'm going in with a little bit more by, let's see, it's not as fluffy. It is an angled powder brush. I mean, it's like a contoured bronzer brush, like it's no big deal. People could use this for blush, they can use this for bronzer. It's just not as fluffy as your bronzer brush because I'm going in more of a precise, and I'm wanting to be more particular where it's going, and more product is going in a certain area. So it's more of a dense brush that's not as fluffy. And then a fluffy brush, you're wanting to kind of have a more blown out look. And a tight like bristle brush, that's kind of not probably the description, you're wanting a more like pinpoint the area you're going to put the product. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going in with my Hoola Caramel, and a lot of people use a bone color to do the contouring. Bone colors look really, really, really gray on me, and that is not a pretty look. And a lot of people are like, well, that's what contouring is. And that's true a lot of times, but it's not pretty on my skin color. So if something just doesn't flatter your skin color, I don't care what the rule is, which I don't even know if that's a rule, but that's what they say, then don't do it. You know, they don't get to decide what you put on your face. I don't get to decide what you put on your face. So if you don't like it, don't do it. So there you go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap like this. Like, I'm not taking a lot at all. And I'm turning it sideways, and I'm just taking it in the far back And I'm just kind of like chiseling out. I'm going underneath that jawbone, because that's what contouring is you're creating a, not jawbone, cheekbone. You're creating a shadow for your cheekbone. See how it just like created that shadow? Well, that one has a shadow because I did the contouring with the other, but it just really sharpened it and gave a deeper color. That's the goal. All right, so you see that little pocket of fat? This blogging is a real humbling experience. I'm going to do the same thing with that. Sorry. Truth hurts. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing with that. I'm going to kind of like disguise that just a little bit. And I'm only going to do one side for time purposes. And I'm just going to kind of like draw a straight line with my contour brush. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of like go over it just a smidge. All right, so right now it's kind of harsh, but that's okay. I'm going to go and then I'm going to blend out a little bit. Because yes, I love to contour, but I don't love harsh lines. All right, so what I'm going to do here is then I'm going to go in with a fluffier brush, and I'm going to take the Hoola, not caramel, just the regular Hoola, and I'm just going to kind of like hit my cheekbone. Oh, by the way, when you're doing the contour, you do that line, and then you kind of like flick it up just a little bit, so it's not like a straight line. I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to kind of like blend it in a little bit, and the same thing here. All right, so now I have a little bit more of a line that I want. So I'm going to take my kabuki brush, and I'm just going to kind of go in with that extra and blend it out while I'm still keeping that contoured look. And it's not going to be a dramatic like blend, like I didn't just cover it up, because I still want it. Like that's the whole purpose. Like I want that contour. And then I'm going to get this other side too, but I just didn't want it on video so it confuses, so it takes forever. So it really does help tremendously. You can make your face shape exactly what you want it to be. And I'm not using a lot of powder. Like you still can see the words imprinted on Hoola, and I've been using it for I cannot tell you how long. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and do the other side. So I'll be right back. Well, actually I'm going to show you, because I want you to see how I do the flicking up thing. So I'm tapping it on the palette, then tap off a little bit, making the line. See how I'm angling the brush a little bit? And then I'm just kind of like flicking the powder up a little bit just to kind of blend upwards. And I'm not coming further than the apples of my cheeks. You do not want bronzer down in here. Now, you will blend it, and it'll all blend nice and pretty, but you do not want bronzer in this section unless you carved out that line a little bit, and you cannot see that, okay? All that is a very subtle line. But if you get bronzer like all up in here without it being just blended naturally up in there, you are going to look like a nightmare. It is not going to be pretty. So you're going to do this, and then you're going to blend it out. And like, you know, when you're getting up into this area, like don't get up in this area. It's not a look. It's not cute. So blend out. Okay. Then I'm going to get the Hoola bronzer and just kind of like blend it a little bit more. So I have 3 different color bronzers right there in that area. Then I'm going to go back with that angled brush and take that Hoola Caramel, and I'm going to chisel out my little jawline, and then that little area that is so beautiful, little little, you know, I need a jawser size, isn't that what they call it? So I'm just literally like drawing a straight line. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back with the Hoola regular color, and I'm just going to kind of like blend out. Kind of disguises this little area a little bit. Alright, now with my little kabuki brush that has the Fenty Beauty, I do like to do each sides of my chin a little bit for my face shape. I have an oval face shape, so I feel like it kind of like gives me a shape to my face. And now, because I do want to have not quite as a, see how this one's a little bit more blended than this? I'm going to take the excess that's left over after I kind of like hit my cheekbone a little bit more. I'm going to take the excess and kind of blend out this white jawline where my translucent powder was sitting. And you notice my translucent powder was on there and I didn't wipe it off. I just kind of let the bronzer kind of wipe it off. So like I'm not looking for a dramatic change on the white jawline. It's just really just going to be a subtle change, and that's what you want. You see how it just like really brought my face in? I mean, it is so crazy how that works out. So now I'm going to go ahead and wipe off all my translucent powder, even though I haven't done my eyes yet. That's okay. I'm going to take one for the team. So now, even though all my translucent powder on my jaws is really gone, translucent powder on my forehead and has already really soaked in, so it's really pretty much gone. Now I'm going to take it off on the sides of my nose. And under my eyes. And then I'm going to add my blush real quick. Let me show you how I do my blush. On my blush, I do have several different blushes I like right now. I'm into the NARS Orgasm. It's really just a really pretty blush. It's so pretty. I don't know why I like a kabuki brush so much when it comes to these, but I do. This is old school MAC Mariah Carey edition. It's sparkly. I really liked it. So this is how I do my blush. I start with the apples of my cheeks. So I smile. Nice little fake smile. And I put it like high up. And it's just a very subtle. And then I kind of blend out just a smidge. So apples of the cheeks and blend out just a smidge. Okay? So it's very subtle and then blend out. Okay? Now if I feel like my nose didn't kind of quite get enough bronzer on it, I'll go back with the excess that's on there and make sure I added enough. So there you go. That's how you do it. I hope that this helps so much. I hope that I was detailed enough. Sometimes I just do it without thinking. So let me know if that doesn't help, and I will finish this look and show you the end result.